Hello everyone, it is Tuesday, and I am here in the grid. Why am I in the grid this week? Well, that's because the new titles are all set in computer simulations, or perhaps a simulation of the mind. First, our top game of the week is Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection on PC, PS4, and Switch. This is a collection of the previous Mega Man Network battle games that came out on Game Boy Advance around 20 years ago. Very exciting. Next we have Tron Identity on PC and Switch, a visual novel set in the Tron universe. Wow, seems really cool. And finally, we have Sherlock Holmes The Awakened. This is a remake of a previous Sherlock Holmes game. It is coming out on PC, PS4, PS5, Switch, Xbox One, and Series S and X. It is an adventure game where you play as Sherlock Holmes, but the crazy thing is there are Lovecraftian mythos creatures all around you, making you go insane, just like being in the grid has made me go insane.
Look at him. He's magnificent. He's more like an enhanced animal, living off instinct.
Not animal.
What? The open mic. He's listening to the Wrangler's headset.
Not animal. I am a man.
Well, those people are fucked. Hey, what's going on? Let's talk about the 20-year-old notable title, X2 Wolverine's Revenge. Announced in 2002 at E3, the game was originally called Weapon X and was based on Grant Morrison's new X-Men comics that had started sometime in the middle of 2001. Shortly after the announcement, the title of the game was changed to X-Men Wolverine's Revenge. Before sometime in 2003, just before the game's release, it was changed to X2 Wolverine's Revenge, so that the game could act as a tie-in to the upcoming X2 film that was coming out in May of 2003. The general premise of the game is that Wolverine is kidnapped and sent to the Weapon X facility, where he's given his metal claws and adamantium skeleton. With an opening scene set in 1968, players guide Wolverine through the facility as he takes on guards and other various bad guys before escaping. The game then picks up in, I guess what you would call modern day, and Wolverine is basically going back to the facility. I guess he's got some kind of a virus, and he needs to find the cure, and apparently it's at this facility, so he goes back. Despite carrying the X2 name, this game really has nothing to do with the films. In fact, the story was written by Larry Hama, and was more closely related to the X-Men comics instead of the film. As far as gameplay goes, Wolverine's Revenge is your kind of standard third-person brawler. You can fight enemies with your bare fists, or you can fight them with your claws. The one downside to having your claws out is that Wolverine's healing powers don't come into play. So, if those claws are out and you're hurt, you won't regain any health. You'll need to actually retract your claws in order for your health to start refilling. There's also a stealth component added to the game, although I didn't think it worked very well. If you saw earlier in this video, I tried to stealth kill a guy, and it just he saw me immediately, so, it was a little finicky. There's also a Berserker Rage meter that can fill up. It's that green bar that you see next to Wolverine's face. Once that reaches its filled spot, you automatically retract your claws, and Wolverine is faster and a little bit more deadlier. But of course, with your claws out, you don't heal. So if you get killed, you'll die. So I have a couple of gripes with this game. The first is the camera. You'd think by 2003 we would have figured this out by now, but the vertical axis, the y-axis up and down, it's not inverted, and I like it inverted, and there was no option to do that, which was annoying. It was nauseating, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it one bit. And the second is that when you die, you have to start over from the beginning of the level. It's crazy. There's no checkpoints that I could see. And so if you die, at the end, you're going all the way back to the beginning. It's like, screw you, play our game over again. So that was really annoying. As for what I liked about the game, the combat, it feels nice once you get used to it, especially when you learn how to toggle between claws and no claws, and when the best time to use those is, and when the best time to not use them is. Eventually, I got a handle on the strike system, where you basically press X to do like a special move. So combat was good. The voice acting was also really good as well. It featured Jennifer Hale, who is very famously known for doing the voice of Commander Shepard in Mass Effect. And the voice of Wolverine was actually played by Mark Hamill, who you might know as Luke Skywalker, or the Joker, or Skips from a regular show, which I think is probably his most popular role. Anyway, critics also didn't really care for the game. They also had the same issues with it that I did. They didn't like the clunky stealth mechanics. They didn't like how Wolverine's healing factor was difficult to use, and the issues with the camera, and the issues with having to restart the entire stage if you die. It just wasn't it wasn't well liked. A Game Boy Advance version actually also came out the same day, and it got better reviews, but it was a side scroller, and just was more fun to play. These 3D games, even though they had been around for almost 10 years, there were still growing pains with them, especially on these new consoles. The GameCube and the PS2 were only about 1 and 2 years old at this point. So, developers were still figuring it out. There wasn't quite a standard set for 3D games at this point, and you could tell. Your options for playing Wolverine's Revenge today are really limited. Of course, being a licensed game from the early 2000s, there just isn't any way to play it today on any modern console. You'll have to either find a disc for your PS2, GameCube, or Xbox, or emulate it, and that's how I played it. I emulated, I can't lie. Anyway, but really, this game isn't all that great. You don't need to search it out. If you find it in a store and you see it for a crazy price, don't buy it. You don't need to. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm kind of done talking about this game, and I'm sure you're done listening to me talk about this game. So let's move on to our notable title from 30 years ago. See you later.